Today I have a very special guest that I recently met, and she's a sweetheart. She's very intelligent, and she's very articulate, and she's very, very a good person, I can tell. I'd like you to meet Shana Gray.
Yes.
Yeah. Shana, you're a wonderful person, and you had so many stories to tell.
Oh, hi. Hey, Bob. How's it going?
Doing good. And
Cool,
thanks for
cool.
being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So let's start with your vegan diet and what you do as far as vegan cooking and things like that. That was so fascinating when you were telling me about that.
Yeah, so I am a vegan, and I've been a vegan almost close to a decade now. I would say I had to change my diet due to health reasons, and what I found is I like really much so comfort foods. So I was like, how can I make plants taste like comfort food? So I got in my kitchen and I started to explore with vegetables, and what do you know, can turn a portobello mushroom into a steak. So that's
Oh, you can do that.
I did.
Did you buy those big ones? Those big,
Really big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yep. So that's my background with vegan. So much so, I love being a vegan so much so that I end up, taking it on as a career.
Yeah.
Being selling good vegan cuisine.
How long have you been a vegan?
I've been a vegan almost a decade now.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that before we taped this, and
Yeah.
kind of tell us how that evolved.
So I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease many years ago, and I kept getting flare-ups. The food systems here in the U.S. Was a bit much for my system, so I had to change my diet, and so I dabbled. And I was told that if I don't do something, I would have to take chemotherapy, and I did not want to go that Western conventional route. I decided to look into Eastern medicine, and I found out that 80% of our immune system is in our gut, and you have to put really good things in there, like
That's what I heard.
blood.
Your gut is a very vital part of your body.
Absolutely. So it's very important that you eat correctly and eat what your body needs. So I had to change my diet to accommodate for that by way of eating lots of plants, herbs, and just generally putting good things in my body. That led me to be a plant-based eater.
And you find, I think we talked about this, you find that if you try to put something else in your system, it's not vegan or not organic,
Oh God.
you get very sick, right?
I get extremely sick, like violently ill. It's not a good look.
Do you just wait for it to pass, or do you do something to flush it out?
Usually, it will flush itself out. It literally, your body is an immaculate tool.
Yeah.
If it's something in there it does not like, it is going to attack and make sure that it evacuates quickly.
And do you think that when you're vegan, it probably doesn't apply to everybody, but that you live longer? Do you think?
Absolutely. I believe so. Studies have shown that plant-based eaters do have an optimal life and live longer. So that's another reason why one of the reasons I just wanted to live a really good optimal health. I wanted to live my days really not in pain and not reliant on pharmaceutical products to live. So
did you notice that, is it harder to cook when you're vegan?
absolutely.
It takes a lot longer to cook?
It's a lot longer. It is a skill. Not everyone, unless you have the passion for it and the patience to learn it, it is indeed a skill. If you have a certain palate like mine, the food has to taste really good and have the textures of what I'm trying to, mimic, like say a chicken or something of that nature. That's very important when you're tackling a vegan cuisine,
Yeah. So you are a self-taught vegan cook, right?
I am.
Yeah. How long did that take you to get to that point where you felt comfortable with the product that you created?
So during the pandemic, we weren't allowed to go outside to eat. I couldn't go to restaurants anyway, but for the most part, we couldn't really engage in the social atmosphere as far as any restaurant. So I decided to go into my kitchen during that pandemic since I was trapped in my home, like many others.
It was horrible. I couldn't sleep there.
I was like, what would happen if I turn this carrot into some salmon, and how can I do that? So I went to, I'm not gonna lie, I went to YouTube University, and with that and just, the things that I've learned from cooking over the years, I put that together, and what do you know, I came out with this immaculate cuisine. So I started doing little things like that, and then even more so, I started to share them with other people, and it was amazing. So
Do you have a lot of vegan friends now, based on you?
I have a lot of try diet people, if that makes sense.
What's that?
People who will try it. If they'll only eat vegan if I'm cooking it.
Yeah. Do
they
they like it?
They love it when I cook it.
Yeah.
But if they go somewhere else or try it on their own, they get frustrated quickly.
So you make different plates, like when you eat dinner, and right, and you have the recipes. Did you create any recipes, vegan recipes?
I created quite a bit. Like I created something called a Nashville sweet heat chicken sandwich, which is made out of seitan, which is like a wheat gluten, like a flour, and you have to boil it. And once you boil it, it kind of gives it mimics like a chicken almost. And then I cut that up, I bread it and flour it. And
Does it taste like chicken?
everybody says it tastes like chicken.
It's amazing.
I'll have to have you
So
try
you don't
some
have to
one
eat
day.
chicken. You can
No,
eat this,
you
yeah.
don't. I mean, I don't. So,
Especially when they kill millions of chickens like they did.
well, especially right now when you got eggs $10.
Yeah.
Okay, a dozen. You might want to
Unbelievable.
look at an alternative.
I went to what was it, at Aldi? Or was it, where did I go the other day? It was like almost $8. That was Sendik's. That's where I went. So this evolved even better for you, and you mentioned something about what you did as far as catering.
Yeah. So I catered even before the pandemic. I catered things like I would put little small things out there. I didn't put much food out there. I used to hold like little dinner parties and things of that nature. That's how I started. I would do small dinner parties because a lot of people I learned was just like me, couldn't go to like restaurants to enjoy a meal with their carnivorous family member. We always had to either watch those people eat or order fries or a salad. I wanted to offer some pairings that was above that, But how I really, like I said, when I really started adding dishes, like really immaculate dishes, that was during the pandemic. But the smaller stuff, yeah, I started long ago doing
And
it.
then it even evolved deeper, right? You got
Yeah,
into other
during
things.
that pandemic, yeah.
Tell me about that. Just even
So-
recently, what happened with the vegan and the different things
So-
that you invited to do.
Right. So I started to dabble more and more with it. I decided to leave my corporate healthcare job. I was in case management with a local organization for years. So I left that organization to kind of take care of people like myself because we didn't have those. It was a need. So I started to branch out more and cater for bigger companies such as Marquette University. I catered for Miller Coors because they wanted to offer those pairings to individuals. They wanted to be more, inclusive to people's diets.
Right.
So they were like, oh God, this is good. This is amazing. It's different. We have to kind of, so they pitched me to do some competition, something similar to Shark Tank, to see how a lot of different people would react to it. A lot of people loved it. So Marquette University wanted to keep me close. So they put me in one of their spaces on campus.
Nice.
So yeah, and I would later find out that I was the first African American local that they did business with.
Yeah.
So that was an honor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Quite a recognition. So, but it evolved even past that too. right?
Even past that, believe it or not. So I had the, I would say, the honor offer the president of the United first. Then he was running for president, his second term, but the president of the United States, Donald Trump. I had the ability to offer him to spin off to do vegan.
Well, how did that happen? Where you met Trump, right? You did.
I did.
And we'll talk about that in a second. But
Sure.
how did that come about?
So I was interviewed by independent a journalist that was just kind of following small businesses in the current administration and how they were being affected by the current pricing and inflation and just overall running a business. So I was interviewed by that independent paper, which ended up being leading to another interview with Fox National News, which was Fox and Friends. Mm-hmm. So I was interviewed on there, and apparently Donald Trump was watching, President Donald Trump was watching Fox and Friends at the time, and he seen me, and he told his people, like, I got to meet her.
Yeah, right.
So he arranged for a meeting. He had someone call and was like, hey, we're going to be in town in Waukesha for our first rally there.
Was that out at the Expo Center or the airport?
At the Expo Center over in Waukesha.
Yeah.
So he was like, it's the first one, and I want you to come, and I want to meet you personally.
Did he call you?
He had his people called.
He did?
Yeah,
okay.
so he had his people called, and I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was about how long ago?
That was May of last year.
Okay, so we're in February 2025.
Yeah. Yeah, so May of 2024, that happened. So I went over to the expo, and they pulled me. Secret Service, of course, went through their whole spiel, and then I went back and I met him. We talked, and he was just, I was telling him about vegan, and he was like, I hear that you're struggling a little bit over there. I was like, yeah, a lot of us are. A lot of us in our community is struggling, with, whether it's gas prices or just overall living. And he was like, well, I'm trying to do something about that. He was like, I hear you do vegan really good. I was like, yeah, I do. So he's like, I think I want to try that. I'm like, are you serious? So we were just in a dialogue.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you know what, you mind staying to be a guest, be my guest on stage for the rally? So I was like, okay.
So what was your impression? I mean, I think most people would be also interested in saying when you meet the President of the United States, which he was,
He
right?
was, to me. I knew he was going to get anher term, but,
he always looks like a guy that's really tall, and he's like a bigger guy.
Yeah, he's not bigger. He's not, wider or anything. He's taller than me, of course, but he's not horribly tall, I would say, but he's about 6'2" or so.
When you shake his hand, was
he
it
was
a really strong handshake?
Very strong handshake. He was cool. Yeah. He's a cool guy. He was really cool.
Does he look better in person than he does on TV?
He looks like himself on TV.
He does. So there's really no difference.
No.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It did. No, but yeah, he was most importantly, he was like a really cool, like how you're cool, Bob. He was like that. He's a really cool guy. I think what people see on TV is necessary. He is, a leader, and he show his leadership on TV. But behind the scenes, he's an extremely cool guy.
Yeah. So then he invited you to speak before the crowd.
Yeah, he wanted me to join him on stage as he was speaking.
Okay.
So
did he give you a chance to say something?
He did.
So I mean, were you kind of scared when you get up there? He goes, go ahead. He puts you up to the microphone.
Heck yeah.
And there was thousands of people there.
Heck yeah.
And then trying to think about what you're going to say. Yeah. So it just came off the top of your head,
did. Right? It was an impromptu thing. It was not planned, nor did he, this was anything that was pre-planned. No, this was all impromptu.
Says her business is being brutalized by the soaring cost of food. She's never seen anything like it. And right now, she says things just aren't working.
It is very important that we change what is going on now. None of us can continue to go with the Biden administration. We need Trump in 2024, so make sure you vote Trump 2024.
So what did he do to introduce you before the crowd?
He was like, you know what, there is a lot of struggling businesses that's having issues right now during this current administration. One of them is Shana. Shana said her business is being affected, by the pandemic, and it did really well back, when I was president. That's what he said. So, but that's how he introduced me.
And he said, Shana, come on up.
He was like, Shana, come on, Shana.
Wow.
So.
So was your heart beating real
And he
hard
said
for
my
it?
name right, because a lot of people say Shana, but
Yeah.
he got it right.
Yeah.
He said my name right.
Yeah, he remembers things.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
So then you get up there, and there's thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They were shouting.
Yeah.
They were like, they were really, they were really nice too. I had a really good time. The people were very engaging and very just warming.
So when that concluded, right? Then you went backstage, right?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
Trump talk to you again?
Yeah, we took some pictures and stuff like that.
Do you have those pictures?
I do.
You don't have to show them
Okay,
right now,
I'll
but
send it to you.
Yeah, send it
I'll
to
send
me.
it to you.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, we took photos
Yeah.
together.
And then there was other experiences you had with national television.
Yeah.
Was it during the convention or a little bit after the convention?
A little bit after I appeared with Trump, a lot of people did not like that. And I believe it was because they had a special, they looked at the aesthetic of myself and felt like, how dare you?
Like, tell me, what kind of people were doing that to you?
Strangers. These are strange people I never met in my life. I would say, they were calling. It was all kind of national news media outlets calling my phone off, from LA Times. Everyone was calling, trying to figure out for me to give a statement.
And it's kind of odd that they were able to find out.
I was like, how did you find me?
How did they do that?
How did you get my phone number?
Right.
Oh,
And then they found out where you lived,
they
too?
found out where I live.
Wow.
It was a lot. It got really ugly right after that. They found out about my restaurant. They came to protest my restaurant. There was some disruptions in my restaurant behind that. I had to get higher security. There were some threats. There were some threats on my life. There was some threats, all kind of threats. You name it, they had them for me. They flooded my business phone with rhetoric about how, I'm a racist, how I am this, that, and another for supporting someone like Donald Trump. But this is my thing of it is that how dare you sit and say that when you feel like you have the audacity to, although that was my choice because it's freedom of speech, you felt the need to come and silence me, as a black woman, but you're calling me the racist.
And that's something you would have never thought of doing to the
Never
other side.
thought, no.
Right? It's not even in your nature.
It's not. It really isn't. But it was a moment. It was a moment during my journey of life. So, but they felt the need to infiltrate that and just go crazy and try to silence me. Whatever it is that I had to say, and my appearance with him was clearly a threat to what they would call, according to one of them or many of them, it was a threat to democracy.
Were these local people, you think, or were you getting phone calls
they were from
all over
all
the country?
over. I got a phone call as far as Australia to tell me about myself. I mean, they were mostly, Alabama. Mostly a lot of them was from Maine and New York.
Yeah.
So, but I believe every state called because it was so many. I think when AT&T gave me my bill, it was over 10,000 calls that was made during that period.
And you turned your phone off
And
after
I had
all,
to
right?
turn it off. Yes, it actually crashed for a little bit.
Wow. And this was how long after you spoke at the...
Days, hours, hours after I did it.
That's unbelievable that
It
people
is.
would do that to another
It
human
is.
being.
It is, and it's very. It displays a hypocrisy about what you claim you stand for. If you stand for this, that, and another, and you want us to all come together, because that's what you claim to be the party of, coming together, or the party of differences and things of that nature, why was I not accepted? As my conservative ideas have been, this way for a long time. However, I still, in many elections, still voted Democratic because again, they came and infiltrated our spaces to push that narrative that if we do not, they will fearmonger you into things. So I would vote Democratic because of that, but the values in me were always conservative. And it is at this moment that I decided to stand up and not allow that. I was willing to take the risk to see something different, because whatever it is that we were doing in the past clearly isn't working.
That's what changed your mind, or what are
That is indeed what changed my mind. I was fed up with the continued fight of what they claim we were fighting for and the hypocrisies that I would see within that space. And I was fed up. I want something different. And, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over. So I did not want to no longer live in that woke space, as they call it, woke, but it's very much so sleep.
Did you lose friends?
I lost friends. I lost my business. I wouldn't say I lost my business, but I lost the brick and mortar portion of my business. I've lost a lot behind that for speaking up. Will I do it again? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, we were talking also about some of the really nice interviews you had on television, and one of them you mentioned to me was with Laura Ingraham.
Yes. Yeah.
How did that go?
For getting up there and supporting President Trump, expressing herself, the owner of Grey Jet Cafe said that she's been getting a lot of hate, including from someone who stormed into her cafe. Shana Gray joins me now. Shana, good to see you. Tell us what happened at the cafe.
First of all, thank you for having me. It has been a very eventful week, or couple weeks, so to speak. Ever since my Fox interview about a week, 2 weeks ago, I'm not really sure, I'm not accurate on the date, but I just pretty much put a plea out there to the administration of which I voted for, to let them know that I am a struggling business owner and I'm just looking for change to pretty much help me and people of my community. Understand, my cafe was created to be a space, a community space, to provide not just good vegan food, but a space for people to come, and a very safe space for people to come and have conversations of things and topics that are affecting them. And one of the number one topics that was affecting them was inflation, and how a lot of them are feeling anxious and don't know about tomorrow and making decisions at the gas pump and at the grocery store of how they're going to care for their families. And I resonated with that as well. So I was given an opportunity to have a platform to speak up for not only myself, but others that in my community, which is an array of people, whether Black, brown, Latino, Asian, all of us, white American, that are suffering. And we have these conversations and we speak about how we need change. So I took that opportunity.
And you could, by the way, see that on YouTube,
yeah, you
right?
you could definitely see it on YouTube. You can Google it. But Laura Ingraham just wanted to bring the light, the hypocrisy. That she wanted to show the aftermath of me standing up, you know, for myself and people in my community that thought the way I did, and how we were attacked by this very much so democracy.
The new press secretary.
Caroline.
You talked to her many times.
She was like my little advisor during Caroline. I'm so proud of her. But yeah, she kind of advised me. She kept me. She would check on me, advise me, and just she's the sweetest person. And she was not just sweet. She's very knowledgeable. She knew how to. You know, she was like, don't take that interview, take this interview. Don't take that one. You know, this may come out like that. You know, she advised me a lot.
She knew the politics.
She did. So she kind of advised me during that little press run that I had.
You also met some politicians. Like, for example, who did you meet from Tennessee?
Oh, Marsha Blackburn spoke about me on stage at the RNC.
Nice.
In front of thousands of people. But apparently I touched her heart enough. She didn't even know me, and I touched her heart enough to say, we're gonna stand up and fight for people like that. So that's all over the internet as well. But
Did you meet Vice President Vance?
At the
convention?
convention in passing, yeah.
How was that?
The convention was full of extremely nice people. Everybody was so warm and welcoming, and I met so many different senators and things of that nature. And I seen Don Jr., Eric Trump in passing. Everybody was just having a really good time during that period.
You said that you had a booth there, right?
I did.
Convention?
I did.
Tell me about that.
Oh, wow. So I was the only vegan booth at the convention, which was controversial on its own because apparently there is a stigmata that conservatives aren't vegan, nor would they welcome a vegan. Yeah. So when they welcomed me there, and every person, they pretty much sold me out, literally. They sold out my product there. And people were wowed by the product. It was a surprising hit. It ended up being so much of a talk. I was number 3 on Google during that convention. Because no one could believe that a vegan would be at the RNC. So much so, PETA actually showed up as well.
They did.
They did.
Wow.
So, and they did a truce with, it was a nice little thing, the truce with them and the farmers and stuff. So PETA did. It was an amazing time. So.
Well, it was an overall experience that very few people get to do.
Yeah, yeah. I was blessed to have that experience.
And the people that that are your friends, and they would never, rip on you like that. I mean, I bet you they were excited to hear all these stories as well.
No, I lost pretty much
all of them.
All of them, everybody. Yeah. But now they're trying to reach out now, of course.
Now that you're a star.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
But
I think you're going to be a star on TV
you
one of
think
these
so?
days. I do.
Oh my God.
I do, because that was like God put that there for
yeah,
you.
It was a platform, and my little, I don't, if you know anything about me, I'm a very private person. I don't really do this type of stuff. It took me forever to get a social media page, and I had to do that for the business.
Yeah.
And it was, so to be out there and have this platform like this has been a wild journey.
See, I would think that a lot of, especially women that are, younger and up and coming women, that they would have a lot of respect.
Yeah.
And they'd want to pick your brains and say, oh, how'd you do this, right?
Right. But it's not, right now, a lot of the people who were moving in my space before, they fell into the idea of the whole liberal idea. So a lot of them were on that page. I was always different. I always thought differently in a complex manner. So, but that, I will have to share this with you, by me always being in a complex thought process at all times, always led me to be a little bit farther ahead than most people, so.
Well, that's a great experience you had, and that's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience to go through all that. I mean, it all started from being vegan. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Right?
Being vegan, yeah. And then just I think the journey of it all was doing changes. If I had to say this in my autobiography or whatever, I would have to say the journey started with me always speaking up and doing what's best for me and people around me.
Did your parents teach you that?
Life taught me that.
Okay.
Life indeed taught me that. And of course, my parents and everyone in between that taught me all of that. But life in general taught me that. And my ability to pretty much, just so many different people that I would run into, and I would take something from every person that I meet. I would take something, I would learn something from them. So.
I could feel the vibe.
Yeah.
And I told you that, right?
Cool.
And that's great.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to thank you for being here.
Again.
You're so far. You're one of the best guests I ever
Really?
had. You are. And I want you to come back someday.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
I wanna shake
Thank
your
you so
hand.
much
I'm
for
very
having
proud.
me.
All
I
right.
appreciate you so much.
Okay. Thanks,
Yeah.
Shana.
Thank you.